Hello, this is Romanosky from the Distinctive Collection in Calgary, Canada, and a shot from our beautiful showroom here. Our thoughts are now kind of getting to spring. We can see that the sky is starting to get a little bit brighter. This is, and speaking of spring, this is our first Aston Martin V8 Vantage N420, and so a little bit of history on the N Aston Martins. These would be taken after the racing cars, which have competed in the GT4 class in the endurance racing, such as the 24 Hours of Nürburgring and Spa, etc., etc. So in '06, one of the first things Aston did was they came out with a race version of this car. Now GT4 isn't that different from a production car. They still have to run cats. They're allowed some, I believe, some internal engine modifications, a roll cage. They delete the air conditioning, put in a stripped interior. But these cars were road registered. So they were driven to the Nürburgring and competed for 24 hours, which is a hell of a test of a car, and then driven home. And they were driven by none other than the CEO, who's about 70, and his name is Ulrich Bez. So that car, that race program for the Vantage, really, I think, demonstrates more than anything the DNA of the current Aston Martins. And a little bit on Ulrich Bez. He was the guy in the early '90s who put the Porsche 911 back on the back burner when that company was trying to decide what it should do with its air-cooled cars and whether it should switch to the water-cooled cars. So it was Ulrich Bez who had the idea to develop the 911 concept further with the last of the air-cooled engines, the 993, and put that company on the map, or back on the map, I should say, because it was looking pretty grim for Porsche in the 90s. And so Ulrich Bez was fairly intense character, and the Porsche company is very political. There's two big families, the Porsches and the Pecks, and Ferdinand Peck is the guy who runs the Volkswagen Audi group right now. Very, very powerful figure in the automotive world. Anyway, so somehow he fell out with Porsche and then joined Aston, and so he is super competitive and is taking the fight to Porsche on the racetrack, competing with their 911 GT4s, etc. So that's the history of the Vantage N24 race car. And then they wanted to capitalize on that, and they came out with something called an N400 road car in '07. And that had a little bit of a bump in horsepower to 400, and its suspension modifications and some special wheels, tires, paint, etc., etc. And they didn't make very many of those. And then now they've come out with the N420, which is basically the same concept, where they take the regular Vantage and they add a bunch of pieces to it, and come out with a bit of a special car and limit it to 420 units. So okay, so now we've got this N420. It's about $12,000 more than the regular Vantage, and you get a bunch of extra equipment with that. And I'd say for somebody who wants to make their V8 Vantage a little bit racier, it's definitely something worth looking at. So the first thing you get is these black wheels. And that's right out of the V12 Vantage and the carbon black versions of the V12 Vantage and the DBS. You get these carbon fiber side strakes from the carbon black edition. You get this carbon fiber chin spoiler. You get special sills, which it's unique to this car actually, a deeper sill. You get, what else do you get with this car? You get the clear taillights, which came from the DBS and now are really popular on this car. And there's a sports package which is included. revised, actually, and they're even revised, it's not just spring rates and damper rates, it's actually different components to give you more negative camber. There's different lower A-arm which pushes the top of the wheel in and the bottom of the wheel out. And you could see it back to back with a regular car, but for a road car there's quite a bit of negative camber in there. And then in the interior you get DBS style seats, lightweight seats. You get the carbon Vantage N420 badge. You get the Alcantara wheel, which is really nice, with the white stitch on top, so you know what's the 12 o'clock position. And what else do you get? I guess that's about it. But if you took a normal V8 Vantage and you wanted to add wheels, and you wanted to add an exhaust, and you wanted to add carbon fiber, and you wanted to add a sports package, that would cost probably something like $20,000. So if you're looking at making your V8 Vantage a little bit more aggressive, then you'd probably be best off just to start right from the factory and get an N420 Aston Martin. Engine and transmission is the same. You can get the standard 6-speed with a gear stick, or the 6-speed paddle shift. Either of those are available, and it's available in the coupe or in the convertible. So the Aston Martin, in Canada at least, you'll pay $150 or $160 for a normal V8 coupe, and you'll add $12,000 for an N420, and then you'll add about another $30,000 for the V12 Vantage. So there's a Vantage coupe, from about $150 to $200, and this one's kind of in the middle. It doesn't have the V12 engine, but otherwise it looks like the V12 Vantage, and it has a lot of the neat pieces on it. And it's a little bit lighter on the front end. So it's an attractive package, and it's a limited edition 420, and it looks great. And I think it should definitely find a place in the Aston Martin lineup that's very popular. So there's our car. We have one left. It's for sale. This one's about $170,000. It's Lawrence Romanosky from the Distinctive Collection in Calgary, Canada. Thanks for looking at our car.